I was like making videos on YouTube and stuff like that, or on Facebook back in the day for it. So it was like kind of like you guys like guys like
And they
Kayla
didn't
Nellis
know
and
you, and
account
they hit
shit
you
like
up.
Yeah.
To help them.
Yeah. Just like on some like.
And then
yeah.
you joined the band and you guys made Brockhampton and got huge.
Well, I would say that.
What's up? Surprise Saturday episode. We're live at Primus Cannabis in Springfield, Mass. Right, Jerry?
Yeah, bro. It's a grand opening. Shout out to Jose for putting this all together. Shout out to Collaborants for helping sponsor the episode today. We getting micro bars out here. Lace, shout out to Get Right. We got Laced out here. We just doing it right. You know what I'm saying? We're usually at New Dia. It's a different kind of home today. You know what I'm saying? It's still just as brown though, because everyone who runs this place is brown like me too. So shout out to that too. So but here we got our special guest, Don McLennon.
Don McLennon, what's up, Don?
How's it going, bro?
It's tracking, man. How we doing, y'all?
Good, man. How you feeling?
Doing pretty well. I'm just chilling at the moment. Just came back from doing a little gig in New Haven last night.
Oh,
so
yeah?
just doing a little bit of DJing, just like hanging out with some homies. Really, really cool scene out there. There's like this on and on radio crew that they have like doing these like shows, and like it's like the college scene, like the folks that are just getting out of college, things of that nature. So it was nice to kind of like engage and see like what the young like producing and like music scene, electronic music scene is like looking like out like back in like the, you know, not just in the New York area, but like that Southern Connecticut side and things of that nature as well too. So that was tight. That was
electronic
like,
music. Like what type of electronic music?
Oh, it was a bunch of different shit. So it was like Jersey Club and like Footwork and things of that nature. So it was like a little bit of Jersey, a little bit of Chicago.
Footwork?
Oh, Footwork is dope. So it's like Chicago style of like electronic music. So it's like Chance the Rapper used to like kind of have stuff like that, and his music like juke joint and things.
Is
of
it
that
more
nature.
towards like house music where it's like 4 on the floor type
Nah,
stuff?
it's a little bit quicker
like,
than that.
What are the
so
drums
it's like
like?
160 BPM, and it's like doom 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 doom.
Okay,
It's really really cool.
I see.
And that's like just like one of the like style, like the base of it, but like they really go crazy with it, like all different types of like ranges and varieties and stuff like that. So
I do love that about music nowadays. It's like we kind of incorporate like and do like cross genres almost a lot, especially hip hop. Like it's been happening a lot more lately, especially you said the Jersey. What did you call it? The
Jersey Club stuff.
Yeah, the Jersey Club stuff. Yeah, it's always like mixed in now, and I love that. You know what I'm saying? It started, I think, too, like with trap music. Everyone tried to bring the trap drums to other genres too.
Indeed.
Like in pop music, and like you're listening to like a Avengers movie, and you're like, is that a trap?
I mean, that's because it's pop music now. It's popular music. You know what I'm saying? So it's like really cool. I've been like spending a lot of time over the last like 2.5, 3 years. Like I was into it a lot when I was younger, especially like in like high school and like middle school and stuff like that. And like my parents used to listen to like a lot of like house music when I was growing up and whatnot. But there was like a time, like I think like in high school and like college, I like got separated from it for a little bit. So now I've been like kind of getting back and doing more research on it, things of that nature. I'm like, yo, this shit been around for like a minute, and it's like I was looking into like the Chicago scene specifically. I like got a real deep affinity for it over the last couple of years, and like the way that they sample and things of that nature, and the way that they're flipping stuff, it's like, yo, this is like very like is the only thing that's different about this in hip hop is like the drums. You know what I'm saying? But it's like they even like the way their studio sessions look is the exact same way that our studio sessions look, type shit. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, nah, this is like sometimes it gets separated, but it's like I want to like put more energy into like, you know, bridging that shit together for real.
Do you produce much of that type of stuff?
Yeah. I've been getting a lot more into it over the last like 4 or 5 years. I feel like I get like, I don't want to say I have like imposter syndrome, but I really believe in like that 10,000 hour shit. So I feel like if there's anything that I'm like going to put out into the world, like I want to like put my 10,000 hours into it, like for real. So like, I'm just starting to DJ like publicly again, but I was doing it in like college back in the day and shit like that. So now I'm like getting back into the swing of just using all my talents and all my skills and, you know, all different types of creative things.
So when you're DJing, are you DJing with your own shit right now, or?
I'm spinning like all the homie stuff,
you
know, so a bunch of friends that I've like made in like the world of music. Like I'm usually like spinning their shit. Sometimes I'll throw like some remixes that I might make in there, but usually I'm just spinning the homies.
But how do you go about tapping into a scene like the Chicago scene you're talking about? Like, how do you know what to check out?
Not gonna hold you, bro. Like, it's gonna sound funny, but video games. Like video games is like a really big source for me because like when I was playing GTA 5 when it came out, there was like a radio station, Flylow FM.
Yeah.
And that radio station was done by Flying Lotus, really, really dope producer from the LA music scene that I was like a big fan of already from Adult Swim and shit. But when I saw that he had a radio station in the game, I was like, yo, this is fire. And I was like listening to the station and I heard one song on there and it was by this guy, DJ Rashad.
Okay.
heavy. And I was like, yo, this is crazy. Like, what is this style? So I like looked it up on YouTube after that, just dove deep into it. You know what I'm saying? And that was like my gateway drug into that shit. And then after that, I just like got really, really, really deep into that stuff.
Yeah, video games, bro, is a bridge to different kinds of shit too. Because like if you know Sledgerin, his whole crew did they did the Street Fighter fucking soundtrack and all that. So it's like
Just Blaze did NBA Street Volume 2.
Right. Travis Scott was produced one of the years too for 2K. Like,
yo, we had a song on that soundtrack because of him.
Oh, that's wild. I didn't even. That's why your voice sounded familiar. By the way, when I listened back to the most recent project you dropped,
True.
which by the way the cover was fire. I was just what is this, a purple castle and shit? I was like, yo, this is dope. But yo, when we talked to your manager, he was telling us that you were into the video game culture, that you did some voice acting for some video games.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, can you tell us about that?
Yeah, totally. So I got to do some voice acting like 2 years ago for this game called Bomb Rush Cyberpunk. It's like this like indie game. It was inspired by like the old school like Sega Dreamcast Jet Set Radio type shit and stuff like that. So that was mad. Radio. Yo, it's like if you took that exact same style, you know how that's based in Japan, and you like put it in Europe. So it's like based out of Amsterdam.
That's
so like all the architecture and stuff like that is like inspired by that shit. It's fire.
What was the gameplay?
So the gameplay is like very similar to like the Jet Set style stuff where it's like you're skating around.
Oh, really?
But they have skating, they have bikes, they have skateboards, like all different types of shit. So it's like they like expanded on all the ideas.
Damn,
that
you know
were
about this game too? It's called something
Bomb Rush Cyberpunk. You heard about it? Oh, it's super fire. Yeah. Like,
what system is it on?
It's on all systems, actually.
Like Steam and all that.
Yeah. So Steam, PlayStation, Xbox, like Switch, all that shit. Okay. On the PC is dope because they got mods for it. So like on the PC they have like the whole like multiplayer like world and things of that nature. People put like custom maps in the game and shit. So
that's dope. We asked Jimmy because he's like he has the biggest Steam library I've ever seen in my goddamn life.
True.
So it's just
we
like
gotta lock in there, gang.
yeah. Like he goes hard. His rig for his PC game is crazy. You just look at it, you're like, I don't even know. I don't want to touch none of that.
Nah, I understand their vibes entirely. Yeah, nah.
Yeah. Other than that one, did you work on anything else with video games?
I've worked on a couple of other games behind the scenes. The most recent one that I did some music for Need for Speed, the last game that came out. So I did the music for the trailer for like the DLC, and like I was like workshopping some stuff with them for doing like music for like extra modes and stuff like that. So
are you like producing the instrumental tracks around it and like okay, so how does one go about even getting into that kind of job?
To be really, really transparent with you, bro, it's like before I was like, while I was doing music and stuff like that, before we were doing like the Brockhampton thing, when I was getting a job and shit like that, I did a lot of work in like market research. So I learned how to like cold call pretty well. So I know how to do my research and like find people who are working on projects that I'm a fan of and like find the right department and be like, oh, okay, cool. If I want to work on this game, I got to figure out who's developing it. Once I figure out who's developing it, then I talk to somebody in the music department or art department, things of that nature, see if they like might be familiar with my work in some capacity, but just kind of like get my feelers out. And then usually there's like somebody that's on the team of something that I'm a fan of where like I'm able to like make that connection. And then it's like, yo, let's build, let's like see what we can like come up with. And then that turns into like, that's me doing it like on the more organic side of thing, you know? So I don't necessarily like rely on like the sync department and things of that nature. I probably should, low key.
Seems to be working for you though, because it's like it almost feels like you're really into that world, so you get a feel for it and you like actually are into it. It's kind of like when you find, like I know when a rapper tries to find a producer, they're like, all right, let me see who's good and what I like to sound like and whatever. Even though a library is easy to go to and shit like that, who knows? But maybe do both. I don't know.
That's probably that's like kind of like what I'm like trying to set up for myself now in the future. But like, yeah, it's just kind of getting started. I was like, let me get my feet in the door by like getting my feet in the door. You know what I'm saying? Like, so
yeah, it's all about having the connections in the end. Like the marketplaces will like give you those connections, or an agent will give you those connections.
Yes.
You know, because the music directors, they just need something that's cleared, right?
Yep.
They don't have to worry about it. They can put it in the fucking movie or the game.
100%.
So it's giving them that trust. So if they know you, they trust you.
Yeah. And like the way that I've been kind of leveraging it lately is like I've been developing my own creative agency. So like I'm able to go to these spaces and say, hey, like we're able to bring some research in and some creative direction into the scoring that we're doing for your soundtrack, so that it's like, you know, something that the fans of the franchise are going to be able to recognize, like, oh, cool, I know that. Like, you know, let's be able to pull from the library of your licensed music that you have originally from that you like had in the score and things of that nature and like make something fun out of that. So that type of stuff is fun to work with like legacy IPs and do things of that nature because it's like, you know, stuff that I grew up on and I get to remix it. So it's like, that's fire.
So wait, hold on. Say that again to me. Where are you getting the music from in that situation?
So like,
from
for example, with for like the Need for Speed stuff,
yeah.
like the way we were talking about it was like, yo, what do you think about potentially remixing some of the music from like the Most Wanted franchise? And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So like we took the music from that game that they had licensed in like 2005. So like the original compositions that they had for the game. And I was like, let me try and flip these and like modernize them and like make them something that, you know, people can like resonate with today. And they were like really into that idea. So, you know, we had a lot of fun messing around with that.
That's a cool idea. So would you extend that to like movies and shit too, where you take the music from the old one and remix it or whatever? Kind of like Limp Bizkit did with Mission Impossible.
Yeah, or even like
I didn't know that.
That's jokes, actually. What's it called? Yeah, there was an X-Men movie recently that came out where they had like used some of the themes from like the 85 comics and like the TV shows and things like that. I was like, yo, that's cool as fuck. Like, so messing around with that type of stuff always sounds mad interesting to me. Like just recontextualizing like the way that sound works. That's like my producer brain. You know, where it goes. Cause I've been doing the rap stuff for forever, but just as long as I've been rapping, I've been producing. But a lot of people don't necessarily know that because they know like the Brockhampton
they know you as a vocalist, right?
Yeah, from being a vocalist in BH. But like the way I joined BH was from me and Romeo having a conversation and him being like, yo, can you show me how to use Ableton and Machine together? And I was like, yeah, bet, I got you. And this is like in 2012 when like we were just learning about how Rewire works and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So just like having mad fun with it.
And so what? So they had a band started or something like that, and they wanted to integrate a computer.
No, they had their own collective going and things of that nature. So like the group that was like before the one that I had joined, which was BH, they had like their own thing going since like 2009, and I had just like Romeo had reached out to me on Facebook and was just like, yo, can you show me how to do this? Because I was like basically making beats where I was cutting the samples up inside of Ableton, but then I was doing the drums live inside of Machine. And like it was that the reason I was doing it that way is because back in the day on this version of Machine, you didn't have like the warping and stretching samples like you did in Ableton.
Okay.
So I was using Ableton for that, so I could get like my samples like on beat and shit like that. Yeah. And I would just do my drums inside of Machine. So.
And record the audio from Machine in live or something like that?
Yeah. And then I was like making videos on YouTube and stuff like that, or on Facebook back in the day for it. So it was like kind of like it was like guys like
and they didn't know you and they hit you up.
Yeah.
To help them.
Yeah. Just like on some like.
And then you joined the band and you guys made Brockhampton and got huge.
Well, I would say that like what had happened was I had joined the group. After I had joined the collective, it was like a real big group of people. It was like 40 of us, like online type of thing. And then one of the guys in the group that had started it was like, you know what, I'm going to make my own thing. It's going to be a boy band. It's going to be this very specific thing. And that was Kevin Abstract.
Okay.
And he was the guy who like basically like laid out the foundation for what Brockhampton would be. He was the front man of it. You know what I'm saying? And he was like, okay, cool. If you guys want to take this seriously, we're all going to move to one place. We're all going to make art together. We're all going to like really get this chemistry locked in, all that type of stuff. So we all moved to Texas around 2014. And then we spent like 2 years there. Most of the guys were based out of Texas already. One of our vocalists and our engineer was going to school at Texas State. So he was going there for the sound recording technology program. So that was why we were all like, you know what? That's where we're going to move to. Once we all moved there, it was like, okay, cool. We're making stuff. We're having fun with it. But like, if we want to take this for real seriously, we got to go to LA. So moved out to Los Angeles. And then we were there for like 2 years. Kevin was working really, really hard. He basically had a lot of shit going for him and was able to like basically bet on himself by betting on his crew. And then we made Saturation 1, 2, and 3 from pretty much him like bankrolling the projects from like the publishing deal that he had gotten for like his solo work. And he was just like, this is how we're going to make it work. And we did. So cool, shout out to him for that.
And now you're solo.
Yeah.
Right.
It's been like, I want to say maybe like a decade or so that we were doing stuff together from like 2012 to like 2012 to like 2022. And then we finished up our stuff in 2022. RCA contract was done and we were all just like, you know what, it's time to like make our own stuff. It felt like graduating college, low key.
Oh, really?
You know what I'm saying? Like on some like, oh, okay, cool. Like we're really out on our own now type shit.
So I know there's no shade, right? But like, has it been a relief at all to go and just be on your own and not have to like write songs with other people, rely on other people to make the music?
It's a 50-50, honestly, bro. Because like, I like collaboration.
Right.
Like, I like creating stuff with people. I like learning and like getting chemistry with folks. Like, I like the team building aspect and process of it as well too. Like, even like my sisters here, like my mom, my dad, my brother, like they're all coaches. You know what I'm saying? Like, I grew up watching them play sports at a really high level, team sports at a really high level, and then watching them coach now and like,
What sport?
My sister does basketball, my brother does basketball, my mom did track and cheerleading, my dad did basketball, a lot of different sports and things.
Damn, did you play sports?
Yeah. So I played basketball a lot when I was younger as well
nice.
too.
Yeah.
So was
that's
there
like my main sport.
any plans on ever having a reunion tape or something like that, or do you still work with those guys on the here and there? Or
We still chat fairly often. Like, I still chat with a lot of the guys. I think that right now at the moment, everyone's trying to figure out like what their individual creative identity is. I wouldn't necessarily want to like put anything in the air for anybody that they wouldn't want to do.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? Because
Okay.
I can't speak for everybody type shit. But like, I definitely think that like, I'm interested to see where life takes us once we all kind of like spend some time establishing our own identities and like getting our own footing. I feel like even for myself, like niggas is stepping into different genres of art now and things of that nature. Like, we're not all gonna even be making the same type of music by the time that we all ever decide to get back together. So I'm very curious of like what that could even look like. But I'm more excited about like what my peers are creating for themselves right now. And if there's a space for me in it, I'm there to support them. Like, if anything, like, whenever I see any of the guys performing, I'm like texting them on the side, like, yo, you're fucking killing it right now. You know what I'm saying? If I'm not there myself. So it's like that type of stuff, where it's like, I'm not necessarily as interested as getting on a track with folks that I've been on tracks with for the last decade, but I am very interested and invested in their personal development still.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we've spent so much time working on being the best artists that we can. I'm excited to see them working on being better people and shit.
Got you. So you're using this time to like expand your own sound, expand what you creatively want to do. And also, I heard that you also are teaching. Is that true?
Yeah, just like figuring the identity of things out creatively and artistically for myself. Figuring out what the role that I want to play as an artist is in the world. It's crazy fucking times right now and shit like that. It's been wild times for a minute. So like,
right,
that's been something that I've been spending a lot of time thinking about during the course of the pandemic. I had the privilege of shout out to my homie Z that like introduced me to like a lot of different thought leaders, black thought leaders and things of that nature. Hooked me up with like folks like Saul Williams and shit like that. That just kind of like put me on game to like a lot of different things that I needed to understand about like what building bases and organizing for your community and shit like that looks like learning what you're gonna stand for, all that type of shit. And I'm still figuring the balance out myself, honestly, right now. But part of the process is like, getting a little bit more comfortable with talking about it and just sharing the process and things of that nature. So yeah, like the education stuff has been really, really cool. I've gotten to do some stuff with I got to do some classes with Skillshare. I got to do some classes with the library. I'm doing like a residency at a university. So just like continuing to try and like push myself as a creative person to not just work, but also show my work in a way where like in the future, it doesn't have to be someone else telling y'all how this happened. Like, you can actually hear it from the source. You know what I'm saying?
That's dope about like modern day too, is like everyone can sort of do that. Like, how many times I tell people like, yo, like let people see your journey. Like, people love that shit. Like, that's one thing barring the stuff he said sort of recently, but like that Kanye did was like when he dropped that documentary, like people suddenly loved him real quick just because you're like, you got to be with him on, you got to see him in a room with his mom's making music and he's like a young kid, you know what I'm saying? And just learning about that artist makes that like connection deeper,
Yeah. Humble beginnings are real. You know what I'm saying? And like, I think the thing about it is like, there's like always like that perception of like where you might think that people are at in their careers and things of that nature. And like, then the reality of like what they're experiencing in real time. And like, even like back in the day when like he used to have like the Kanye University blog and things of that nature, it was like, you got a real candid look, like kind of behind the lens on stuff. So I've been working on a lot of like, community-based things back home. And I just been like, really keep it a buck. I just kind of like for the last 2 years or so, just like shut the fuck up and try to do the work, learn as much as I could. You know what I'm saying? Like see how I can be helpful for folks and just learn about like mutual aid and needs and offers and all these different types of things like base building, space stewardship. Cause like we have like this space in Hartford called the Creative Campus that we've been like building out that turns into like a co-working space, like a community development space, artist development space, all that type of stuff. Folks host galleries there, shows, all different types of things. So that's like where a lot of my focus has been on. Like that's where the Brockhampton money is going, if that makes sense at the moment. Like it's just like, you know.
So it's called Creative Campus?
The Hartford Creative Campus.
The Hartford Creative Campus.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
What part of all of it do you think that you're uniquely able to teach?
So I had a conversation with someone like maybe like it was in like 2016 or 17 or something like that, and they asked me like, what's your favorite thing that you like to do? And I said, I like to show people what they're capable of. So I think that along with like the mechanical tools, like I'm good at teaching people the mechanical, like the fundamentals of things, like how to produce like the basics of a DAW, the UI and the UX and things of that nature. Like this is where the transport bay is. This is where your step sequencer is. And it's like your step sequencer might be here in FL, but it's going to be here in Ableton, and it might be here in Logic. And this is how you get to it in all of those places. So you kind of get a universal understanding of how to use all the shit. Mm-hmm. So I feel like I'm good at that stuff. But outside of the like outside of the technical shit, what I really like doing philosophically is like showing people what they can do and being like, hey, like let me help you unlock your potential. Like that thing that you like in the world, you can do it too. Like it just takes a little bit of training and a little bit of understanding. And these are like those like core fundamental pieces, you know?
How do you do that? Is it just by helping somebody with the fundamentals that they need, or is there something special that you put in them?
I feel like a lot of it's just listening to people. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like spending that time and just like taking in what they're into, what type of time they're on, you know what I'm saying? And meeting them where they're at in a lot of ways. That's like I feel like that's like where you got to start, you know what I'm saying? And then it's different for everybody as well too. And that's the thing, like we're all different people, you know, like being able to like create things like even for me, like when I was like doing like digital classes, like with the Skillshare stuff, it was a little bit of a challenge for me because it was like, okay, cool, this isn't as one-on-one as it is for me normally when I'm like, you know, helping someone, like showing them how to do a thing. Like I'm like showing a bunch of people the fundamentals at once. Mm-hmm. So, okay, cool. I have to like kind of reframe my brain a little bit. And like, that was like a really good growing experience for me to be able to like have a better understanding of like, okay, cool. Just because everybody is different, these are the things that everybody needs to know. And then from those things that everybody needs to know, then we can talk about theory. But like, if we jump straight into theory, everybody gets lost.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
If you don't even know how to implement what you're talking about, because you don't understand the DAW.
Yes. You know what I'm saying? Whatever the thing is, it's like, you know, like if you don't know what a waveform is, or you don't know what if you don't know what a sine wave is or a sound is or anything like that, it's like you don't really understand this stuff. And that's the cool thing about like being able to get into teaching, is like it makes me do more research as well too.
Yeah, right. You start thinking like, how am I explain to somebody? You're like, wait a minute, I don't even know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, like what's the history of a VST? Like who made the first VST? You actually start looking into that shit. It's like, oh, okay, cool, Steinberg, da 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 da. You know what I'm saying?
You just taught me. I didn't know that shit. I was like, oh, for real? I was like, who?
Yeah, like it's crazy. Like it's like when I started looking, I was like, oh shit, the people who made Cubase are the reason why. Oh shit, like damn, this is crazy, you know?
So like I remember too, like when I first started making beats, I was in my 20s, right? But before then, I had no clue what a producer even did. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I just thought, you know, he's locked up now, but I just thought it was Diddy dancing in the videos. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what he was doing. You know what I'm saying? But then I learned he produced. I was like, oh, he did that? I didn't know that shit. And I remember my friends coming into school. They had the Fruity Loops before it was FL Studio. Yeah. He was showing me, and I was just confused. I was like, whatever, dude. I moved on. So for you, like, how was your introduction to like production in general and music?
Man, so my first instrument, I was playing saxophone when I was like 8 years old. So I got introduced to that through like band class, things of that nature. Shout out Noah Webster Elementary School. And I was fairly decent at playing, and I started to learn how to like write and like compose as well too, like sheet music and things of that nature. So as I was doing that, I then went to this like went to like one of those like, I don't know exactly what the word is, like
band camp.
No, not a band camp thing. It was like a science and technology school.
Oh, okay,
for middle school and shit like that.
Yeah.
And this was in 2004 or 5 type shit. So this is like back in the day, but it was like one of those pilot program type shits.
Yeah.
So we were like one of those first schools where they gave kids like their own personal like laptops, like during like class and stuff like that. So my band teacher and like my like my band teacher and my like computer class teacher, they basically like put an admin account on my computer. And when they put that admin account on my computer, like I was able to download FL Studio and shit like that. It was called Fruity Loops at the time as well too. So like basically like I started like originally composing classical music in it. And like I started with that, and then I went to that like, it was like my summer between like 7th and 8th grade. I was at my aunt's house and my cousins were making a mixtape. And I was like, yo, let me in. I want to make music with y'all. And they were not going to let me in the room because they were cussing and they didn't want to get in trouble because I was a little kid, things of that nature, da-da-da-da-da. So at one point they were finished and they were like, you know what? You want to figure out how to make beats? All right, cool. They open up the door. My cousin Jeremiah lets me in and then opens up a new project. And the same program that I was using for composing it was like, figure it out, and just left. So after that, I was like, okay, cool. Now I have a computer at home, or like, you know, like in my family space where I can like make beats on this and I don't have to rely on my school computer. So like, it was like a whole different experience after
How were
that.
those first beats though, bro? Like,
oh, garbage.
They're always garbage, bro.
Garbage. Yeah.
Do you still make shit that actually sucks?
Oh yeah, all the time.
Yeah.
You have to.
Right.
I feel like you have to like, everything can't be brilliant.
But do you
Everything
think
can
it
be a
sucks, like,
masterpiece.
it sucks in your opinion, or it like objectively sucks? You know what I mean? Like sometimes you're just like,
objectively sucks is mad funny.
So nah, I feel you on that though. So I would love to say that it objectively sucks, but I know that it's my opinion.
Right.
Because there's been shit that I feel like I can play y'all some shit that I think is garbage that everybody in here would lose their minds to. Yeah. But it's like, I think it's garbage. The reason why I might think it's garbage is because objectively to me, I didn't create it with that much integrity in mind. Like that's why it's not good to me. It's not necessarily not good because it doesn't sound good. Or it doesn't,
what do you mean integrity in that instance?
It wasn't coming from an honest place from me creatively. Like I'm just fucking around.
Okay.
Or like I'm fucking around in a dishonest way. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm fucking around and it's
what's like dishonest though? I mean,
not taking something seriously that I should be taking seriously.
Well, I think I know what he means though, bro.
Like disrespecting my gifts. You know what I'm saying?
I get what you mean though, because I mean I've been in sessions where somebody is like, this is gonna be some bullshit, and then everyone fucking loves that shit just because they're fucking around on the mic. Like you never had an artist just like, let me see what I can do real quick.
I feel
I'm
like
fucking bored.
Dishonest is like a weird word for it though.
Well,
you know
like
I mean?
I put it like this: it's like I shouldn't be doing practice moves in the game unless I've practiced them well enough to know that I can pull that shit off in the game. And I'm just like, and you know what I'm saying? If I'm like fucking around and I pull a trick and I throw a trick shot out, it's like, and people go crazy for it, that doesn't mean that I should do the trick shot every single time.
Gotcha.
Like,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Then that's pretty awesome.
It's cool. Yeah, it's cool every now and then.
Dude, it's like when Pritchard throws it up from half court and made it a few times.
Yeah,
you know
I feel like that's what keeps it honest. If it's like a every now and then thing, but if it's like if I try and turn that every now and then thing into a trend or a fad, then that's what makes it feel dishonest.
I feel like dishonest would be like you're doing something that you don't like because you hope that other people like it.
That's probably
that's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
I think that like sometimes even me as an artist, like I'm trying things out that I don't care for.
Yeah.
And it's not that I'm trying it out because other people like it. I'm trying it out because I'm curious to learn.
To me, that's
like
not
the
dishonest.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could fall in the same camp of like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. You know, like it's just like it's not necessarily as serious as what I could be doing or something like that. I'm not saying everything has to be like serious, but I was having a conversation with a really, really good friend, and she was saying like, you're blessed with a lot of gifts, and you should take your gifts seriously. Like you should, like I was like, we were talking even about like sharing our work and things of that nature. I was like, I don't really feel that good about sharing my work. I don't really feel that good about like advertising and selling music to the common folk right now and having someone decide between like if they're gonna spend money on their fucking light bill or on my CD right now. So they were talking to me about it and they were like, yo, like I feel you, but also at the same time, people really need that shit right now. Like, because that might even give them the energy to go get up and fucking get that bread for their light bill. And I was like, that's like a really good perspective for me.
That's
to
an
have.
insanely good. And it's kind of like you have to remember that music is like the most selfless thing in the world almost.
Yeah, art is a generous
you let
act.
go. You let it go into the world.
The music is the selfless part. The industry is
that's different.
But those are they're mutually exclusive terms.
Right,
you know
right,
what I'm
right.
saying? Like I don't necessarily have to have everything that I'm doing musically be involved with industry, and I don't have everything that I have to do industry involved be with music. You know, like there's ways to figure out the bread and butter and things of that nature. So I can sustain myself, and people can sustain themselves, and like really, I want to show people like more of like how that's possible. Because even like with the commercial stuff, like I call it commercial stuff, like when I was doing stuff for like the video games and things of that nature, but it's like it's a different world between my artistry and my commercial work, you know? Because it's like I can do a fucking dubstep song in my commercial work, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like
That'd be funny.
Like, and that's technically what happened with the Need for Speed stuff.
Yeah.
Like, you know, that was like I remixed one of the songs, and it was like, if what fits right now and what the audience wants is like some more like aggressive electronic music, all right, cool, let me get in that, you know what I'm saying? But like I can do that there more than I can
put
do that
out on your album.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that sounds out of place there, you know?
Right.
So like that's, and I feel like, you know, that's something that like maybe like me, it's unique for me to have like that creative gift to like be able to dance between genre and things of that nature. But I feel like, you know, a lot of times people get caught up in like, sometimes I'm an artist. For me, like for me at least, I'm kind of dancing around a little bit right now. But like sometimes I'm an artist and sometimes I'm a skilled tradesman and I'm a skilled craftsman. And like music is one of those trades and crafts that I'm skilled at to be able to.
So
like,
you do a job,
yes,
as opposed to your work.
Yes,
that's how I think.
And like being able to have discernment between the two, to be able to like keep your spirit and your soul alive is like really, really, really important. You know,
it's kind of like studio musicians when you're like, hey. Play this like that. I need it like that. It's not your own thing in a way, unless they tell you go crazy. But you're like following a direction. Yeah, it could be fun.
Yeah,
facts. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like and I think that like it's one of those things where even like I like to encourage people to be creative and be themselves when we're collaborating in environments, because like I've noticed that happens a lot where it's like people are like, do it this way, do it that way, and it's like, yo, like what about what this person is into? What about what this person is interested in? Like how do you explore that and things of that nature? So yeah, I mean like.
Yeah. Is there any genres that you haven't gotten to yet that you want to?
Metal.
Yeah, I love metal, dude. I'm like 50-50 rap and metal.
Yeah, he's a drummer, dude.
Oh, true.
Okay,
Hell yeah. Like when I was in like middle school, my homies put me onto like a whole lot of like progressive shit. So like between the Buried and Me and like Contortionist and like all these different like wild sounding
super
bands.
heavy, super complex.
Yeah, they just go in like six different places
and
one. Yeah, super mathy shit or like Chan and stuff like that.
You ever heard Candiria?
Yes.
Yeah, they're fucking crazy.
Yeah, that's wild.
You ever heard Suicide Silence, dude?
Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I got introduced to metal because my boy is an amazing guitarist and vocalist, and he was in like a pop punk band, but he also did metal.
True.
Like, and he did the deep voice too, and all shit like that. So but then one day he was like, "Oh, you produce this?" So he's like, "You know how to mix?" I was like, "Yeah, I know how to mix some hip hop," but I'm like, "Let me go. I'll help you out." It was like night and day to me, like how he wanted his kick to hit compared to me. I'm like, totally. I want it deep. I want it to slap. He's like,
he wants it to knock on the top
end. Yeah, he wants it to hit like a little fist, like, you know what I mean? Like quick and like almost like you're punching real quick. And it's like, damn, bro. And then the way they use cymbals is different. Like I use it sparingly in hip hop, but then they're using it like it's a fucking hi-hat. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, absolutely. God damn. So it's like you got to juggle your mind a little bit, and that kind of makes it fun. So getting into that, I even tried to sample, so I was like, I can't do this right now. Like it was so, and their breakdowns, by the way, are amazing.
That's the thing. Like there's like certain songs, like even like back then I used to like sample like Census Fail songs and shit like that, because I was like, yo, this is tight. Like this is crazy as fuck. But yeah, like there's so many different components to that side of like also like live recorded music, because like for the last album that I did, it was like more of like a hybrid between like jazz and like, you know, hip hop and things like that. So I did a lot of the recording and like composition and like engineering with my homies on that together. So that was really fun. And that's what kind of like got me like inspired to be like, you know what, like I do want to like produce a jazz album for somebody.
That was the album that came out last March, right? That's what you're talking about. Yeah, it sounds good. You did the engineering on that? Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Sounds really good. Yeah,
cool yeah, I want to do like more stuff like that where it's like live production for other musicians that I'm a fan of. You know what I'm saying? Like I would love to like be the executive producer on a metal project, or on like, a jazz project, or on even like a fucking country project. Like, I don't necessarily care what the genre is. It's like the experience of being able to, like, on the producer side of things, not necessarily just make the beats, but put the talented people together in a room to like get the idea to life.
Yeah,
that
got the song creation shit. Yeah, that would be fun, man.
That's like when you're big dog producing, like executive production, like putting those pieces together and connecting the dots. Like, that's a very undervalued skill set that people have, because it's like for you to hear something, be like, yo, if I put this voice over here with this guy from fucking Colombia real quick, and we get this guitarist real quick, like that whole mindset that people have. That's why, like, when you see the like genius producers, that's why they live, their careers are so long, like Quincy Jones and shit, because you're like, yo, they've been making everything we love since forever.
Like David Foster and all them and shit like that. It's like, like these, it's a communal effort from like these village of like highly skilled craftsmen and tradespeople. You know what I'm saying? And
I like the tradespeople thing, by the way.
Yeah, facts. And it's like they're all doing this work in service of the artist. And that artist might be fucking Whitney Houston or Celine Dion or whoever it is. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, that's a different role than like me trying to be the artist in that situation. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like there's a time and place for me to step in the front of the stage, and then there's a time and place for me to make sure that the stage is built.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like, yeah.
So is that what you find yourself doing back? Because you went back home you're from Connecticut, right?
Yeah,
so you moved back. Do you find yourself, working with more local artists there? We work with a couple like Fuego Bases from Connecticut, right?
Yeah, Fuego.
Yeah, Fuego's dope. Yeah, Sholei's fire.
We've done a few
Fuego
things
tonight.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He's gonna be at our boy Last Days is putting out an album. Fuego's on it.
Cool.
So I'm pretty sure he's gonna be there at least at the release party. Yeah.
Oh, that's been super dope. It's been really cool to see like the way that things have been like moving and shaking for folks like back home. It's been fucking fire. Yeah. But yeah, I'm a big fan of a lot of the like folks that are rapping back in CT for real. We're working with a lot of like the musicians out there as well too. So, like Dwayne Keith, Dakota Austin, Gary Nolan. There's like a bunch of folks that are like on my last record. And then we did like a live performances of it as well too. Sorry, excuse me. And the live performance was like a really, really fun project of being able to do that with Telefunken. So it's just like really building out a world where like my creative peers can like exist in it and like be able to do cool shit is like something that I've been like, that's what I really like kind of went back home to be able to do. And that's what like, between doing my own personal projects, campus-based stuff, and like being able to like, just not just create for myself, but create like and play a role in service of other things. Because that was like something that I spent some time with as well too, like post BH. I was like, you know what, like, as much as I love this idea of like kind of going back to the beginning of the conversation of like, it might be a relief to like be independent and be solo. I've also found the most success in my career playing a role and being a part of something bigger than myself. So I want to like continue to have that common thread in my career. So that's like kind of like a part of.
Yeah, it seems like you really like to build foundational stuff.
Yeah, or like at least if I'm not I don't necessarily need to be the builder or the leader of the build. I just like I just want to see it happen.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like if someone tells me that they have an idea, or they have ambitions for something, like one of my boys is telling me like I'm cursed with taking people seriously, like that don't take themselves seriously type shit. And I was just like, I guess so, but like someone has to, right? Like, so I just like, yeah, I don't know. Like
that's a crazy curse to have. Just frustrated all the time.
Falling in love with potential too.
Yeah.
That happens a lot. That happened to us a lot in the beginning.
Like I try my best not to like fall in love with potential and just see things for exactly what they are. But like sometimes like people are just like not being honest with themselves, so they can never be honest with you.
I think you got to look at some of these actions and like make your criteria for potential correct, right? Because somebody could be an amazing singer, and if you're looking at them for like, do they have the potential to be a big artist? I think you really need to look at not just the talent, but how do they move? How do they promote themselves? Are they good at social media, especially nowadays, right? Shit like that,
Specifically with singers too, their lyrics, because I think that's one thing.
Are they flaky?
Yeah, and then some people forget that like how important lyrics are, especially when you could
songwriters.
Yeah, the songwriter. Yeah, I know. And then you feel like, damn, this person has an amazing voice, but they're too prideful to me to tell them like, hey, maybe we should get this person to write it for you. You know what I'm saying? That happens a lot.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, and it's like, or there'd be some people where I'm like, your voice ain't that dope, but them lyrics were fire. You should give it to that person. Yeah. And that's even more difficult of a conversation to have with them.
So real.
Yeah, totally.
That holds a lot of people back. You know? Like, and that's like kind of that artist craftsman conversation, if you will. You know what I'm saying? Like, once again, it's like, but I feel you 1,000%. It's like finding the right role for individuals to play and making sure that they're playing those things thoroughly and fully. And like, that's why I really, really respect like good producers, because like it takes a level of like leadership and like controlling like a lot of egos and personalities to be able to like make the thing happen. You know?
Make the thing happen is a very eloquent way to put it. And I mean that for real, because like we always try to make the thing happen, like since the start, because we started because we were all making beats, all engineering stuff, and then we would be like, oh, let's get these artists. We have all these fucking producers, and now let's connect them with the producers and see what we can make happen. And even those steps were difficult because of everyone's egos. And then you're like, holy shit, instead of balancing out our own stuff, we got to balance his ego with this guy's and XYZ, or he didn't really work out with this ego didn't work out with this guy. You know what I mean? Just because like the conflicts happen in the studio. Did you find that when working in a group, was it just easy? Did it flow, or was there a lot of that clashing too, even within your own group?
Oh, all the time. All the time. There's so many clashes, but I think the big thing was like keeping your eyes on the prize. So a lot of tiny fires, nothing that ever really got too big, because we were able to keep that common like goal of like, I know for myself, like even like when I would have conflicts, it was like, this isn't my group. Like, why do I need to have so much autonomy over this stuff if this isn't even my thing? Like, let me play my role and fall the fuck back. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And even having conversations with like other peers and being able to like, you know, identify that type of stuff. And like, sometimes you got to just like work that shit out. Sometimes you got to fight it out. Sometimes you got to be pissed off. Sometimes you might have to be tight with each other for a little bit, things of that nature. But it's like, I think that the big thing about it was just like, don't ignore the conflict. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't like deny the conflict. Don't let it like, don't sweep it under the rug. Like, oh, everything's cool when it's not. Figure that shit the fuck out. You know what I'm saying? So
if you had to make a new group, dead or alive, choose 5 people.
Oh, wow. Dead or alive is crazy, dude.
That is pretty
that
crazy.
opens it up.
That opens it up like,
I mean, maybe we should say like within reason. Like, you can't have Jesus. That's too far back.
I mean, having Jesus would be pretty sick.
He'd be a good front man.
Yeah. Every show could start with the cross coming up. You know what I'm saying? God forgive me for that joke.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I had to. I'm sorry. You set me up for that one.
Oh man, I'm genuinely trying to think about this because like dead or alive, like my brain immediately goes to like,
you got some crazy ones, right?
Do the
Michael
immediates.
Jackson and Stevie Wonder and shit like that.
You don't want to have people like too many. Like, you can't have both of those guys. You know,
exactly.
That's too much.
Yeah,
right,
exactly.
Almost, right?
It's like too many superstars. You know what I'm saying?
You have Hendrix.
Okay, who? Yeah, like I was also like someone I was thinking about as well too. It's like
John Lennon.
Who's at the top of this? At the and then who's backing them up?
You need chemistry too.
Yeah, because like, you know, you gotta like, you're building like a fleet, if you will.
It's like
the
dream team. It's not just the best players.
Yes,
it's like they get some role players too.
Yeah, you need the support and things of that nature.
Right.
Oh man. Okay, so I think that it wouldn't be like a rap or hip hop group.
Okay.
I love rap and hip hop, but I would like my top 5 group to make music that's sampled in every genre after they.
All right,
so
you want a bunch of like musicians to make.
So you definitely need a guitarist.
Yeah.
You definitely need a sax player.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Someone
shit like that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
No, it's some Gato Babidi or whatever.
High key. Okay, so if I'm wilding, right? So like I'm having like Thundercat on bass.
Okay. I
and
like
then
this.
He's
I'm
from
having
Parliament Funkadelic.
No, Thundercat.
Thundercat's
He's
like the
from
most famous bass player in the world.
He's a sick bass player.
Just
He started with
I know what you're talking about.
he started with Flying Lotus and like Suicidal
Okay.
Tendencies.
He was the bass player when Mac Miller did Tiny
Yes.
Desk.
Yeah.
All right,
He's sick. He's so sick. So I'd have him on bass.
That's nasty already.
And then I'd have Chick Corea on keys.
Okay.
Like we're going nuts. Like
Yeah.
we're actually wilding the fuck out. And then like I would bring in like, what other instruments am I bringing into this?
You need a drummer.
I'm bringing in Roy Ayers on the vibraphone, on like the xylophone things.
Okay.
And we're gonna
You're
have like
wasting
the
a whole
good
spot with a
vibrations.
vibraphone player.
Yo, they'll go
Roy
nasty,
Ayers
bro.
is crazy.
Okay. I mean, that's
That's the thing. Chick Corea and Roy Ayers together is
yeah.
His face.
I'm on a. This is on a different. I'm talking like some
Yeah.
interplanetary shit. You know what I'm saying? So it's like so we got Thundercat, Chick Corea, Roy Ayers. My vocalist is Sade.
Ooh,
Wow.
Okay.
See how I'm rounding this out?
Okay. Yeah, you rounded it out. You rounded it out. I like this.
And then who?
So that's
am I,
4, right?
Like, and then who am I bringing in for my drums?
Travis
That's
Barker. No, apologies.
What about what's it, Carter? I think it's Carter Beauford from Dave Matthews Band.
See, nah,
No.
I need something a little bit.
The guy from
thinking-
Fish.
That's crazy.
The guy who wears the dress.
That's wild. I think that
He's nasty though.
It would be so funny to have like all these like soul and jazz folks and then like a classic rock drummer. That would definitely round
I
it
just
off.
want it mad confused. Like
Lars.
Thrown off, super thrown
Yeah,
off.
he's like, I'm
then
feeling
I
too
should-
sexy for this right now. Like,
So
what's
that's
going?
drums.
Jokes. Oh man. Okay, so who am I bringing in? Yo, okay, so this is gonna sound wild. So the last person that I'm bringing in, they may not be doing just like drums, but they're gonna be like the producers. So they're gonna be the one like making the beats and stuff like that, the backing beats and whatnot.
Okay.
Teddy Riley.
Okay.
Wow.
All right,
Damn,
you
this
came up with a
sound
crazy
like a
little
good
lineup,
band.
though.
Yeah. Like you said top 5 Dead or Alive.
Right.
5 Dead or Alive.
Yeah.
So it's like that's why I was like, okay, cool. Like I'm wilding out. Like
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like
I just now I want to see. I wish AI had something where you could input that. Be like, what would they do?
Probably can.
Right? That'd be
it would
sick.
probably break the computer.
Yo, that'd be bad funny. Like we
Comes
don't
out
have this technology yet.
So beautiful.
Do you use AI in any of your production stuff?
I've messed around with it. I low key used to do like consulting work for like a lot of like companies behind the scenes on shit like that. So I've helped with like some like other artist voice models and things of that nature.
Gotcha.
But not necessarily in my own stuff that much. I've like messed around with it. Like the most that I've used it for is like stem separation. So like
Okay,
taking the
yeah.
stems out of songs and
Yeah.
things of that nature. Like, but I don't necessarily consider that like using AI. Like the stem separation shit has been there
different,
for a minute. So
yeah.
it
It's
just
not the
accelerates.
generative
FL
AI.
just got that recently.
Yeah. But the generative AI stuff,
Yeah.
like I said, I was kind of a consultant on
Yeah.
certain things behind the scenes. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get paid off this shit.
Right.
Not about to pay for
It's
it.
a pretty cool way to get
Like,
samples.
Yeah.
You know,
It's
you
very
just make some
interesting.
stuff and then sample that.
Yeah. Like, cause there was like a while even like when I was working with one company and it was just like they were messing around with the generative AI stuff for like making audio,
Mhm.
but all the audio that they made, it was like 45 seconds of sound, but there was like no beginning and no end.
Yeah.
So it was like, nah, we need loops. Like, and it was like, these are things where it was like, as a consultant, it's like, they're so deep in the development of the software and the technology that sometimes they have to like kind of be like pulled back out and be like,
Yeah.
hey, this is how a consumer would utilize it. and things of
Illmind
that
made a
nature.
really cool loop maker.
Yeah.
I think it's called like Loop Magic or something like that.
Yeah, a lot of that stuff's been coming
Yeah.
around now. The software is really, really, really advanced. Like
Yeah.
it's been getting it's really hard to discern it from like reality in a lot of ways. You know what I'm saying?
Sometimes it makes like, have you ever fucked with Suno, one of the generative ones where you make songs?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it makes shit that is like awesome.
Yeah, Suno is really good at like making like a baseline for like a lot of different things. Like the most interesting thing that I've seen somebody do with that shit was like they basically used Suno to like make backing tracks the way that you would like, remember like how you would have like your old like Casio keyboards that would have like the stock backing tracks on them, like on like the beats and like the default beats.
Yep.
They're using it for that to then like play on top of. And I was like, that's a really
that's pretty
interesting utility
That's
for
pretty
like
cool.
being able to like come up with stuff like on the fly. And it's like basically they use that, they'll play stuff on top of it, and then they'll like remove it and then like have like this brand new like
Interesting.
improvisation that came from like
That's a pretty cool way to start something.
Really interesting way to start shit.
That's pretty cool.
The most interesting way I've seen was this motherfucker making an Easter Bunny song. Did you make an Easter Bunny song for your kids?
Oh, yeah. So I do well, I don't do it. The Easter Bunny does this. He sets up a whole elaborate hunt every year, right? And what happened last year was the big bad wolf showed up and took him. So there was blood everywhere. It was crazy. I was fucking around with Suno and I made like a couple of drill songs about it.
Yeah, it's mad funny. And then you're like, why does this work? I used it once to make a song for a blimp. So I worked for a cannabis company and we had a blimp at an event.
Yeah.
And then on mushrooms, I was like, I want this blimp to have its own personality. I made an Instagram account for it.
Word.
And then I was just like, I need this. Did I ask you to do it for me? Did I send you like what I want?
Something like that, yeah.
I forgot what it was, but then we made a few, I have a few different blimp songs. And it's the blimp talking about how good of a blimp it is. It's kind of funny.
It's so ridiculous.
But yeah, it's like, that's how crazy we could get now. You know what I mean? Because I think like as humans, like we want what's in here to be out here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think what's going to happen, like, and what's been happening is like, that's what we're doing. We're translating our ideas into text from whatever it is and making it a physical or audible thing that we can ingest somehow. You know?
A lot of people get like shook and scared about it in a lot of different crazy ways. There's a lot of panic around it and things of that nature. But I just look at it like the evolution of the calculator. Like on some real shit. You know what I'm saying? Like you write 1 + 1 into it and you hit the equal sign and you get 2.
Same, yep.
You know what I'm saying?
The people starting to suspect Spotify of using some AI music, generated music in their playlists and shit like that.
1,000%.
Yeah. Which is gonna get ugly.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh man, you guys don't want to get me started on streaming services and shit like that. I don't know if you guys put this on streaming services, but this shit'll probably get flagged if I spoke my mind.
Are you trying to like sell your music off streaming and shit?
Oh yeah.
Even?
Do
you use Even?
Not yet, but me and Mag are like pretty cool people. He's fucking awesome. Mag Rodriguez. Huh?
We just put our first song up on Even.
Oh, true.
It's a really dope platform, man.
Yeah, it's a really, really cool, really interesting. Like, what Mag is doing there is fucking brilliant, honestly. So
it's so
very
cool.
excited about that.
Fucking, you're a big Smash Brothers guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You started some league or something like that, we heard?
No, I didn't start a league, but I am assisting in some commentary for like a couple of different tournaments that like my homies have like put together and things of that nature.
It's in Vancouver, right?
Yeah. Battle of BC7. Yeah, so that one's gonna be like super tight. That's at the end of March, I believe. But yeah, funny. It was a really, really funny like chance encounter of like how I even like met like the crew that does this stuff. So we had, I think it was like our second tour. We were doing shows, and it was like, it was our second tour where we were in Canada, and we had to stop in Vancouver, and we had like a rest day. So I was like, yo, is there anything going on like in Vancouver? Like, what is there to do? And it was fucking freezing. So no one's outside. No one's like hanging out like that. And somebody replied to me on Twitter and they said, yo, we're going to have like a local Smash tournament like at our college campus. Would you be down to come? And I was like, you know what? Why the fuck not? Let me see what's going on here. So I went to the University of British Columbia, and it was like 3 or 4 students that were there. One of them was this kid named Kevin, this other kid named Lemon, a couple of other folks there. And basically like they started their own like local esports like league and like circuit and things of that nature. And they had like just started getting support from their university for it, all this different cool type of shit. So that was in like 2018 or 19, I believe. The pandemic hits. They start hosting their own tournaments at the beginning of the pandemic online, and they become like some of the biggest tournaments like in the world for like Smash Bros and shit like that.
Oh, that's dope.
So they've gotten like a bunch of different like global support now, and now they run the biggest esports convention, I'm pretty sure, in the Pacific Northwest at the moment. Besides like PAX isn't considered an esports convention. It's like an expo for like game developers. So that's like a different category type of thing.
Gotcha.
But like when it comes to like actual fighting game competitions, they do Street Fighter, they do Smash Bros, they do Tekken, and a bunch of other stuff as well too. But they do like the main ones, and all of them like they like the official standings for them and things of that nature are actually like logged at this event. Cool. It's like it's considered like one of the major tournaments like around the world for it.
All right. So if your music was a Smash Brothers character, which one would it be?
That's jokes. That's actually hilarious.
Last question.
My character would be. See, I'm like, I want to say my main, which is Duck Hunt, because Duck Hunt's just hilarious, and he's
Duck
just
Hunt
like
is
fun.
hilarious.
He's a great time. Just like,
Okay.
I think that I would probably be Kirby, low key.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Kirby like can like Kirby has like his own style, and like you can like just play as Kirby if you want to, and like you could definitely do some damage with him. But he has this thing where like if he absorbs like his opponent and like spits them back out type thing, he gets like their style. And he like starts to like basically like his hat changes. Right. His hat changes to whatever the other character is that like he's like style he's taking. So gotcha. I feel like I can do that type of thing where it's like I don't like I have my own style, but also I can like change styles whenever I feel like it based off of who's around me. And like I feel like that's low key my best form. Wow. Is like when I'm in that mode where I'm switching styles, because I get to do some of my own things, but I also get to do some of the things with the people that are around me.
That's a way better answer than I expected. Who's your main on Smash?
Dude, I never played Smash Bros. That much. What? I mean, I would probably be like Link or whatever. Hey, what do you want?
I wanted a better answer. Yo, no, like
okay,
for me, I was Captain Falcon.
True,
a lot, and then Fox. I would switch because just because you could spam it with Fox, he was so quick.
See, I like playing Duck Hunt just because I like just like throwing shit around the map and just kind of like hiding in the corners. Like him and Snake, like those are like my two guys. I'll just like drop grenades and bombs and just like chill out and just be like, just don't run into that over there in the corner. Like just don't forget about that. As long as you don't forget about that.
I miss Smash on GameCube, by the way. That was my favorite game of all time.
True.
Well, all right, Dom, this has been very cool, man. Thank you very much for coming.
Yeah, appreciate
we got to let this place get their cypher started.
For sure.
We'll be back on Wednesday with Last Day's album release, and we'll be at the party tonight if you're watching this live.
He gonna be there. I'm a good boy, dude.
You're a punk.
Wonderful.
All right, peace.
Peace.
Yeah.